everyone, and welcome to the Battlegrounds preview show. I am OLED Ed Fries, and I'm joined by my tag
Dang
team
it.
partner, Astrid Pizarro. And we are joined by the one and only BR Doc, writer for all things pro wrestling at Bleacher Report, Doc Chris Mueller. Thank you for joining us.
Oh, thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah, thank you for coming.
I know it's early, we're all sleepy, none of us have slept the amount that we need to, but we are ready to have fun and talk about all things NXT. And you know what? With all these cards, with all these matches and long shows, NXT's like, nope, we're going to get in here in 2.5 hours. We're going to give you 6 quality wrestling matches. That must be nice.
Yay.
We got all the HBC crew coming in and joining us. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for stopping in. What is everybody's hype level for Battlegrounds? Because I know mine's different than other people's because I'll be there live. But
I think I'm excited for every single match if I'm not really mistaken about it. Yeah.
I mean, NXT events always end up being pretty good. So I'm looking forward to it just from that aspect, but I haven't been super invested in any of the major stories that they've been telling. I'm just looking forward to like good wrestling, basically.
yeah, and that's what I think what we're going to get. We're going to get some really entertaining wrestling matches, not a ton of storytelling, so to speak. And it'll just kind of build to where we go from here. Because with the draft and with the new champion that was crowned in Los Angeles at Stand and Deliver, we're kind of reset to, okay, this is the new normal for NXT. Where are we going from here? We'll start with the one title match that isn't a restart. Hello, Mark. Thank you for joining us. We greatly appreciate it. One match that doesn't seem to be a restart of any new old stories, and just jumping into a great match with some good storytelling. We have Wesley defending his North American Championship, and I want to say the 14th multi-match of his reign. It feels like this man doesn't want to face one-on-one with anybody. He just wants to go against as many people as possible. So he now has done a Fatal 4-Way, singles matches, a 5-way.
Mm-hmm.
I think he won the match in a 6-way. And now he's got his triple threat.
I told you that since the moment that we're starting to build this, this is going to be another multi-man match. I see it.
Yeah. We have Tyler Bate taking on Wesley, taking on Joe Gacy. Yes, Mark is very excited for Tyler Bate. He's a big Tyler Bate fan. Doc, what do you think about this match? And who do you think's coming out as the North American champion?
I feel like it's probably going to be retained for Wesley here. His whole reign has been built upon him being able to overcome multiple people at once. Like you said, they put him in multi-man matches all the time. If they were going to do a title change, I would like it to go to Tyler Bate. It's been far too long since that man had a title around his waist.
Yeah, absolutely. Astrid?
As much as I want Tyler, as Mark was saying here in the comments, I do see Wesley retaining this. I feel like if you look at it for the storytelling standpoint, they put them as multi-man matches, and it kind of shows them off even more. Like of him retaining, it's like he defeated now, one person, he defeated maybe 2, 3, 4, maybe 5, and I feel like that makes him look even better than just any regular champion. And I feel that also elevates the North American Championship as a whole, not only just him. So that's why I feel like that's why I feel like it's kind of like his branding at this point with that North American reign. So I only expect multi-man matches like moving forward with him for the time being. But I only see Wesley winning this. I think it would be a huge shock though if we get Joe Gacy winning at the end and kind of going for like, oh, the guys went for the tag titles, they lost their shots there, but then he goes, the one moment he goes in and he decides to go for a title shot and he wins it. Like that would be a huge to think about, but I only see Wes retaining it.
Yeah, I'm all in favor of Wesley winning this. He's had a great run. They've built this cardiac kid. No matter how bad it is, he always seems to come through. Yeah, he could lose I do have a feeling he's going to lose this title when he does in a one-on-one match after all of these great things. But I would love to put a title on Joe Gacy. I think he's done incredible work in all iterations of his Joe Gacy character in NXT so far, with the creepy horror villain work that he was doing when it came to the feud with Braun Breaker, to starting up the schism and making that feel like a big deal, and taking alongside his wing, Ava Rain, Simone Johnson, bringing her along and making her feel important, because she never feels less than in any of their segments. You've got three super talented guys who can talk, but Ava never felt like she was just there. She always felt like she was part of the story through their stuff. And I think that you continue that here. And I'd love to put this title on Joe Gacy, but I can't see how you beat Wesley right now. It's just, he's too much fun.
And Ava, there's been times during this run where it feels like they're almost setting her up for a leadership role, like maybe she'll kind of take Joe Gacy's spot. I like what they've been doing with her. They definitely need to give her more ring time, because she needs that, just to improve. But yeah, I like what they've been doing with her.
Yeah, it's in, because everybody was worried when she came in. Oh, what are they going to do to make her different? They've made really vague comments that she's The Rock's daughter, but for the most part, she's her own person. And yes, she absolutely needs more in-ring time. And hopefully we get that, because they've been randomly telling this story now for a few weeks. We need to get that Ivy Nile versus Ava Rain match, because that story just all of a sudden popped up and is now gone back away again. But I like that Joe Gacy's been about bringing everybody he's been associated with up a level. And I hope that continues. I mean, you really can't, after working with Eddie Kingston in Evolve for as long as Joe Gacy did. I think it's hard not to pick up a little bit from Eddie and make people better.
Yeah.
We're going to move on to, speaking of a tag team and the tag teams, we're going to go to the men's tag team titles. The only current tag team titles reigning in NXT, as our NXT women's tag team champions are on SmackDown, with apparently no plans to give up those titles, because reasons. We have the Creed brothers versus the Gallus boys. Mark is in the comments, so I know we're going to hear boos for Gallus coming in the near future. And we have Astrid right here, and she's very much a big fan of Julius Creed. So, Astrid, tell us why it's going to be the Creed brothers winning this match.
I like how Mark says, please diamond Mark. That's so accurate. I wish I could root for the boys. I really wish, but no, this is definitely a Gallus match. I feel like there's such a momentum right now that I wouldn't kind of break up that momentum they have going on at the moment by having them lose the championships. And the only thing that I could see when maybe, we have, Joe outside of it, and we also have perhaps Stacks that may come in. You never know if he does come in to help out the Creeds or not. He said he wouldn't, because that's what they wanted, but who knows if he changes his mind later on, depending what's happening in the ring. But yeah, this is definitely a Gallus match. I don't see them losing these titles anytime soon.
Doc, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree. I would love the Creeds to win here. I think they're in a holding pattern right now, because they're ready for the main roster, but they still could use more time. So it's kind of hard to judge what WWE wants to do with them. Like, they could be in NXT for another year, or they could be on the main roster by SummerSlam. So I don't know, but I do not see Gallus giving up the belts here. It's probably going to be a dirty finish of some kind, but I hope they have some plans for Ivy Nile moving forward, because I'm tired of seeing her just play like the mom to the Creeds. Like, she's such a unique talent, and she's good too.
Yeah.
Like, she has this one move where, she kind of kicks one person and punches the other one at the same time, and it looks really good. And little things like that set her apart. So I really wish she was on this card.
Yeah, I wished for a second women's match, and then we ended up getting this, and I'm like, okay, I'll take it. Because I'd been saying for a while that Mark's, no, Mark, Gallus boys on top. Just learn how to say it. Gallus boys on top. And also, Ali is good. Because Mark is very on the train that Gunther has to crush Ali in about 30 seconds, and we have to teach him that Ali's good. No puking, Mark. But no, the Gallus boys are great. I love these two guys. They are absolutely fantastic. The only thing they need is a better finisher. I still hate their finish. Otherwise, yeah, the Creeds are great. The Creeds can do anything they want to do, and they could go to the main roster and continue being... It's fine, Mark. They can continue being great, and they can fill right in with all of those teams on the main roster. But with that tag team division in kind of disarray right now, especially with the apparent main event of Night of Champions in a few hours, being the tag team match, it's hard to tell what to do with the Creeds. And it's too early to take the titles off Gallus. And by the way, Gallus has been so entertaining with having just everybody come to them and be like, I want a match. It'll be like, okay. You're so used to heels being like, no, I'm not going to defend my titles. And they're like, all right, we got time. We can do it next week.
Nope.
It's been a bunch of fun watching how they've been booked. And isn't it amazing how this tag team division never seems to stop? Like, you always look at it and you go, oh, the NXT tag division's getting a little light. They're moving people around. They're breaking up tag. And all the time, it just seems to keep filtering in brand new tag teams. Pretty Deadly leaves, and it's still like, nope, we're good. We've got 3 or 4 really good tag teams. And then we've got Enofe and Blade over there. It's amazing how well this tag team division just filters in new teams without ever feeling stale.
Yeah. I mean, I don't like the cowboy stuff. But for the most part, NXT does have a pretty solid track record with tag teams. Maybe not always from the storyline perspective, but there's always good talent there.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a huge... I like JBBJ. I think they're okay, is what we call them here. Jensen and Briggs. I like their tag team, but I can understand people who don't. Like, it's an acquired taste. The fact that I found out today that Jensen is only 21 years old boggled my mind for about an hour yesterday. I'm like, really? You're 21? He's so good for being so young.
Kyle Fletcher is like that too from Aussie Open.
Yeah,
24 years old, and that kid is putting on some of the best matches we've seen for the past few weeks.
I mean, Kyle Fletcher is one of the greatest. To think about the fact that those three, between him, Ospreay, and
Mark Davis.
There we go, Mark Davis. Thank you. I was gonna say please bear me out. It's
my
Kyle
friend
Fletcher
Georgia's future husband.
I always know it's always Kyle Fletcher and the other guy for me. I always forget Mark Davis. The three of those guys being a group for so long is just so good. It's so amazing that they were so good. I would have loved to have seen them come to WWE. I'm glad they went to AEW. I know one of them's hurt right now, so it's going to be a while before we see the true Aussie Open.
Davis,
yeah. Davis is hurt, but it's still fun to know that they're going to be there. But could you imagine them mixing up with this tag team division? It would have been fun. You have GYV still in there for the next 4 months until they...
Well, no, the dyad is there.
Well, yes, GYV, the dyad.
Oh, no, the dyad is dead for Ed. It's just GYV.
I'm so sad because there's so much good work with that. But I like how NXT hasn't shelved them yet. We're going to have to see going forward how much longer they're not shelved. But initially, when they put out their press statement about, on Twitter about, we're unhappy, we asked for our release, they didn't give it to us, on this date we're leaving NXT. Normally that's the death nail for you're almost instantly off TV and no more stuff for you. And they got 3 or 4 more weeks of good stuff on their television with them in there, not looking like absolute jokes, which is what WWE typically does to people who are saying they're going to leave. So maybe that's a change in philosophy.
Mhm.
Maybe it's hard to tell.
It is.
Those guys are really talented, though.
They
I'm
are.
really sad that they've been put in a position where they don't feel happy enough and want to get out.
Yeah. The fact that you've made those two unhappy just boggles my mind. And again, in a tag team division that feels like it's lively and feels like good things are happening.
Like,
The
just
fa-
let them wear their nice suits again.
yeah. Let people pick up their shoes and hold it over their heads. Shoes off for Gibson. Going to NXT UK and talking about those guys, we're going to go ahead and switch to, for the first time domestically, we're going to the defense of the Heritage Cup, as Noam Dar defends his Heritage Cup against Dragon Lee. Doc, go ahead and talk to us. I don't know how familiar you are with the British rules matches and whatnot, but this is going to be a fun one, isn't it?
Oh, this is gonna be great. Noam Dar can be annoying, but he can also be really funny. So I'm looking forward to him having some really funny spots where he's selling some of Dragon Lee's just insane aerial stuff. But yeah, they're gonna have a really good one here. I don't know who I think is gonna win though, because Noam Dar loving that thing so much, like there's a potentially funny story in him kind of going crazy by losing it. I just don't know what Dragon Lee does with it then. So I think the best route is to probably have Noam Dar just hold on to it.
Yeah. My my favorite thing about this was this week on NXT, you got to see a little bit of comedy from Dragon Lee, which is something you don't typically see.
Mhm.
At least I don't remember seeing comedy from Dragon Lee in anything I've watched with him in it. Where you've seen Dragon Lee put his arm around the cup and talk to it like Noam Dar does, treating it like a woman. And I just thought that was, again, so funny from Dragon Lee. Because I understand that Noam Dar is delusional enough that he doesn't understand the difference between a woman and the cup. But I love that Dragon Lee was playing along with the joke. That was really good.
I
My
also
question.
love that they haven't updated his promo photo because like he has much longer hair and has for a while.
My other question in going into this match is, how does Dragon Lee's offense fit into a 3-minute rounds segment? That's going to be so much fun to watch because this is the kind of guy who has explosive offense, but it feels like it takes a while to get going. And in 6 3-minute rounds, I wonder how many times we're going to get to see Dragon Lee getting cut off. And I think that's how Noam wins this match. I think Dar wins this match because of the fact that it's rounds versions. Because this match as a wrestling match is going to be much more entertaining than the rounds version is. I think we're gonna feel cheated by the way the match is laid out, and that's perfect. Because I think that's how you want to continue this feud. But I'm very excited to see the first U.S. defense, the first non European defense of the Heritage Cup. Astrid?
Yeah, this is such a tough one because I do see like the way it's been with Noam Dar, and I would like to keep that going with the cup, but I see like it'll be different to have Dragon Lee have that Heritage Cup going forward. But like you said, I keep thinking of like Dragon Lee's style is so fast paced. It's like when you're such in the zone and that fast pace, how do you stop after 3 minutes? You know, to have that break and then pick up again. I feel like that will be, I don't want to say challenging, but it may be a little bit complicated at first when you think about it from his aspect. He's not used to anything of like having to stop and start again. So I think that part will be interesting to like watch on screen as he has to kind of adapt that style a little bit. But yeah, I'm definitely torn about it because I want Dragon Lee to win, but because of the way it is, I'm gonna pick Noam Dar retaining it.
I just think there's a lot of potential in Noam Dar being
Mm-hmm.
brought in. And it's funny because I joked about how NXT brought in Noam Dar solely because he had the cup and they wanted to use the cup on NXT television. But I keep thinking about Supernova Sessions. And like Doc said, he's so funny at times. Like the Spanish book. Like a man from the UK who must speak some level of Spanish. Because it seems like a lot of Europeans speak multiple languages. Around the world, people speak multiple languages on a daily basis. Hell, look at Astrid. We were talking about it in the pre-show. I can't spell the word doctor, apparently, because I spelt it wrong. But I can't do my own one language of English well. But Astrid can speak both Spanish and English fluently.
And I'm learning French.
And she's using Duolingo to learn French.
Yeah.
Roman Reigns is hitting 1,000 days today as Universal Champion. Last night, Astrid hit 100 days consecutive on Duolingo. That's what happens when you pay attention to your tag team partner's Twitter page in the morning.
Yeah.
But no, it's a whole bunch of fun. I'm excited to see this Heritage Cup, and I just think that there's so much potential in Noam Dar, because he can do, like Doc said, the serious stuff, and he could be a future challenger for a Carmelo Hayes, and you can believe it. And the funny stuff between him and Trick would be hysterical. And then you can just leave Carmelo being the straight guy to it all. There's just so much potential in Noam Dar. I want to see him lose the cup, but I also want to see him keep the cup.
Mm-hmm.
Because his interaction with the cup is so intriguing.
Mm. What if Dragon Lee wins it and he just goes at ringside and keeps trying to get back to it, or like trying to grab it from Dragon Lee and kind of hug it back and take it backstage like often?
Maybe this is how we get Alicia Fox back. I know Nathan Frazier brought her up last week, even though she's not the company.
Yes.
I don't need to hear the way Noam Dar pronounces her name.
Foxy! So, building to the next match, we're going to have Ilya Dragunov in a last man standing match against Dijak. We kept wondering which match we were going to get on the show on Taking Over. We kept talking about, there was two options that NXT had to go with this, because they have two matches that are building to almost the exact same match type, and we didn't know which way they were going to break. And it was either going to be Ilya and Dijak on the pay-per-view, doing some kind of a last man standing or a Falls Count Anywhere match, or JC and Gigi having what I thought was going to be last woman standing. Last week on the show, we found out that after NXT 2 weeks ago, we were getting Dijak versus Ilya. And then last week we found out that the main event of next week's NXT is going to be the women inside the weaponized steel cage. I wonder if this came down to the fact that this is in Lowell, Dijak's from the area, and they just decided to give Dijak the homecoming match on the pay-per-view. I don't know. I'm excited to see this. Doc, what do you think about this, the last man standing match?
I actually think this might be the match of the night, because I think a lot of people have forgotten how good Dijak actually is. Like, that Keith Lee feud feels like so long ago.
Yeah.
And they really bungled him on the main roster. So it's going to be really great to see him have a chance to shine against another guy who's really great. I want Ilya to win, but I think it actually makes more sense to give the win to Dijak.
Astrid?
Marcus here picking Ilya. This one is another one that I'm like, I feel like it could go either way from that standpoint. But it just feels like Dijak needs a little bit more just to get that boost as well. I'm like, this is the first thing he's had versus Dragunov has had quite a bit beforehand. So I just feel like Dijak does need that win to, like, I don't want to say elevate him, but like highlight him a little bit more than Dragunov right now. But yeah, I feel like I would prefer him winning, but I will be good with either one of them, to be honest.
Yeah, people don't typically win in their hometowns, and we've got two of them on the same card, which is unusual. I'm really hoping that Mello wins, because, I mean, obviously I don't want Braun Breaker as champion again. So I kind of want to think that Ilya might win this. I also think Ilya kind of needs this. The Voice, Joshua Joseph, thank you for joining us. He agrees with Astrid. I mean, we all agree with Astrid. I agree, though. I think Ilya kind of needs something. He hasn't done a lot of stuff on NXT, being injured and coming back. The JD feud was okay, but not great.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is a spot where you can really show how great Ilya is. I feel like of all the matches, this is the only one that we're going to have that could potentially have some blood. And then, as Mark brings up, is this going to be another situation where we get two guys beat the holy hell out of each other, and then they start forming a tag team, a la The Bar? We've been talking about it on Taking Over. I think that's potentially what could happen. Either way, I just want to see these guys go out there and steal the show, kill it, and have an amazing match. I'll take Ilya just because I think Ilya should win, but I could totally see Dijak winning and not blink an eye.
Yeah.
Doc, what do you think about the potential of a tag team between these two?
I mean, we've already seen Torture, so I'm not sure if but then again, like, it kind of almost fits with their characters that they would be fine with that. I don't know. They have a bunch of tag teams right now. I don't know if just putting two guys together to form another one would be the right move.
Mhm.
I'd rather Ilya remain a singles guy. I think Dijak could be a good heavy for another small guy, but Ilya he's so special on his own that I think putting him in a tag team would diminish that.
Do we think Ilya goes for the world championship at some time within the next 6 months?
Probably. I mean, he's a former UK champion.
Astrid?
Yeah, I don't see why not. He's one of the people, the few people that I could see lining up for Carmelo sometime soon, and that'll be great to see.
I mean, I've heard this idea, and I'm still not sold on it. Ilya Dragunov needs to be an Imperium, but Dijak could be cool. I don't understand why people want Ilya in Imperium right now. I think you leave the Imperium thing for a little while. I think there's so much that Ilya can do outside of Imperium, outside of the main roster, and plus, Melo's going to need challengers in the near future. Like, we don't have that many top tier challengers currently on the roster ready to go for Melo in the near future. So having a guy like Ilya or having a guy like Tyler Bate, well, I mean, do we need a heel turn to do that? We can just have them have another banger.
Yeah, so I'll say we don't need him to turn on him. We just needed to have a match against him.
All you need to do is just put Ilya versus Gunther and then just leave it be.
Yeah.
There's so much good that can come of this match. It really is the only match I can see stealing the show other than the main event. Because that North American title match maybe too. No fantasies for people who think that Ali deserves to be destroyed in 30 seconds. No, bad mark.
It is your turn. You're correct with this one.
All right. Well, at least we're going back and forth. Does anybody have any more thoughts on the Last Man Standing match?
No.
No?
No.
All right.
Just that, like, I know of one particular fan who will probably be able to hear over from Bulgaria if Ilya wins.
That's Maggie, correct?
Yes.
I was like, I think this is Maggie. I'm not sure. I'm trying to remember.
Yes, very much Maggie. She is a big Ilya Dragunov fan.
Well, hopefully we can all hear her when Ilya Dragunov hopefully gets the W here. We move on to the finals of the women's tournament to crown the new champion. We have, shockingly, like, I don't understand how, Lyra Valkyria, the Bird Lady herself, going up against Tiffany Stratton in the finals of this tournament. Astrid, as the Taking Over women's wrestling expert, she always shakes her head when I say that. Talk to me about what your thoughts are on the women's title match for Battleground.
Well, let's just say we're gonna be from Tiffy Tuesday to Tiffy Sunday. I think that's what's gonna become at this point now. After we get it, no, like you said, to me, Lyra is the one that feels like it doesn't belong here, though. I would have preferred even somebody like even Roxanne Cora to be in this spot, but it is what it is. But I feel like this is definitely Tiffany's crowning moment, as you have mentioned before during Taking Over, and there's third, they had 2-3 opportunities to give her the title, and they still haven't. So I feel like if you're gonna give it to her during this pay-per-view and make the crowning moment even bigger. So it makes more sense that way for me. I feel like that will be great to see, and I think it will help her get elevated, and it will help also with the new fresh opponents for her, it would be great to see her. Maybe like her and Cora will go against each other sometime soon, and then on top of it, like her and Roxanne as well. Maybe we'll get Lyra asking for a rematch as well. So I feel like it will be great to see a new mix with her opponents coming up soon afterwards. But I definitely don't want Lyra to be champion. I haven't been like I don't want to say impressed, but I haven't been doing great with her so far since her debut. So I prefer having Tiffany, who has grown and been there this whole time, working her butt off. So I think that's definitely Tiffany's crowning moment. Make it a big one, and on Tuesday have a big celebration as well. And I think that would be something that her character would do.
Doc?
They need to have Tiffany Stratton win the title and then take it to the Barbie movie premiere. Like, she's too perfect for that. But yeah, Tiffany has improved by leaps and bounds. Her character can still be grating, but that's the point of it. Lyra is just too new, and there's too many other women ahead of her who have already earned a title push and just haven't gotten it yet. So I think they put her in here to be not an easy win, but like I think we all know Tiffany is going to win this one. This is the most predictable match on the card, in my opinion.
I think it's the most predictable match of the entire weekend on all 3 shows.
Yeah, it's up there.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, obviously I want Tiffany Stratton to win. I've been singing the praises of Tiffany Stratton ever since Nikita Lyons went on the shelf, for obvious reasons. But no, she's to figure out where this girl has come from, considering before this she was a gymnast. She got signed to WWE. We started seeing the promos of Daddy's Little Rich Girl. And the whole vibe of Tiffany Stratton when she debuted. And the simple evolution to minor changes made here and there that she's had over the course of this time. Taking time off to get the surgery done to fix her nose, because I noticed she had a broken nose at one point. To go ahead and get that set up, and then give that time to completely revamp the character from Daddy's Little Rich Girl to outright Mean Girl. And take that spot perfectly, because she comes back right as Toxic Attraction has to dissolve, because Mandy Rose was making money and WWE didn't like it. And now we don't talk about Mandy Rose anymore, apparently, on WWE television. Which has been really problematic in a feud with 2 people who are supposed to be fighting over the fact that they were the second and third best parts of Toxic Attraction, trying to claim that they were the first and second parts, and people mentioning a third part. But Tiffany Stratton just seamlessly fitting into that slot of being the mean girl and doing it so well. And then we thought she was going to get crowned when they were taking the title off Roxanne at Stand and Deliver, and they didn't. And they gave it to Indy for God knows what reason. Like, I like that Indy Hartwell gets to say she was NXT champion, but God, that was a baffling decision. Made me even more baffling when she gets drafted while injured. And then in the injury match, we find out that Tiffany Stratton was supposed to be the audible call to win that match. So it's like twice Tiffany Stratton has been supposed to win this women's championship and not done it. I still think it would have been better from an in-ring perspective to have just had this been heel versus heel and have Cora Jade versus Tiffany Stratton, because the fans are enough behind Tiffany Stratton that I think it would have worked. Lyra Valkyria has done nothing to impress me at any point. I feel like she's more green in the ring than Tiffany Stratton, which is saying something, considering Tiffany Stratton's only ever done this here, and Lyra Valkyria was on television in NXT UK. But here we are, Tiffany Stratton, the lock of the weekend. She's winning this match. Now watch us be wrong, watch us all be like,
no,
this is a lock, and then, you'll cry. I'll be crying in the arena if she loses this match. This is one of 2 matches that got me in the door.
No, I end up crying on stream. I don't want that. No, it's a big no-no for me.
Who do we think is the next challenger for Tiffany Stratton coming out of this match?
Mm.
I could see it being Sol Ruka. Or
Yeah.
wait, is she injured?
Yeah, she
Yeah.
has she tore her ACL, I think.
Oh, that's right. Damn
They
it.
wrote her off TV with one of those hidden camera backstage attacks.
I don't watch every episode of NXT because I don't have to cover it, so it's kind of like sometimes I take the chance to take a day off from wrestling.
As
Um,
well.
damn, yeah, that's disappointing. I mean, maybe Ivy, give her
Yeah.
something to do. Jeez.
I can see Ivy Nile. I think Mark has the idea. I think if it's Gigi Dolan that wins the cage match, I could see Gigi Dolan. Um, I could still see Cora Jade to be perfectly honest
Yeah.
with you. I don't think Tiffany needs to be face versus heel. There's also not a ton of women right now because of the injuries that are ready, set to go. Um, it'd be fun if they revive the feud with Wendy Chu to give her a nice easy win. I know Astrid wouldn't be happy that she'd have to lose to an NXT Women's Champion.
Yeah.
But you know, having Wendy Chu go in there and take a loss from Tiffany Stratton could be fun. I think there's a lot of fun and interesting ways, but there's no guaranteed route to go.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
that feels nice. It feels open. There's a bunch of different women who can do it. Maybe Natalya comes back down because, God, I don't want to see her on Raw.
That's what I like about it with Tiffany being like, if with her being champion, I feel like there's so many people potentials there, and they could go any route at this point. That's what I think makes it more interesting with her being champion. And I would prefer, like, hopefully sometime soon see her against Cora, because like you mentioned it, I have mentioned it before on taking over too. I feel like people don't like Cora as it is, so they will either give her that reaction of booing her versus people are enjoying Tiffany, even when she won the match to be a part of this, of the finals here. But people were rooting for her, so it just makes sense for like somebody like her. She's gonna get cheered on, kind of like a baby face, even though she's not. And then Cora's gonna get booed, so it works out for the crowd in the end. And I feel like Tiffany has to show Cora is like, how do you really do the mean girl role? Because Cora calls herself the mean girl, but Tiffany's the one actually portraying it on screen.
Yeah. There's a lot of fun routes for this. I'm excited for it. But before we finish the show, we've only got one match left, the main event. I want to go ahead and plug our sponsors, Rogue Energy. Right below Astrid, you have the QR code where you can go ahead and go to rogueenergy.com or just scan the QR code and go ahead and put in our promo code OLEPODS to get 10% off your order. Yeah, you get 10% off your order of any Rogue Energy products, whether it be a starter set, whether it be a tub, whether it be the energy drink cans. All kinds of wonderful stuff over there at Rogue Energy. My favorite is the watermelon. It's not on there right now, but you can definitely go ahead and get that. I've absolutely had it. I've absolutely drank the watermelon. Don't listen to anybody who says anything different. But no, they have all kinds of flavors. It's a favorite of all of the people here at OLE. We thank Rogue for their sponsorship. So again, go to rogueenergy.com, OLE Pods, to get 10% off your order. There's a couple things that are out of stock, but I'm sure they'll be back in stock in just a few weeks. Yeah, and then we get to our main event. It's the Homecoming. He's the one been doing all the press out here. He was doing so much press that they even wasted some time on NXT to go ahead and show off all the press he's been doing. It was nice to see James Stewart on television. It was nice to hear Sean Grandy on television talking about the history of NXT and Lowell. We have Carmelo Hayes, him, taking on Braun Breaker, the big bad booty Braun Breaker heel version. Ashley, go ahead and tell me your thoughts on this match.
I just want Carmelo to win. I don't want Braun Breaker as champion again. No, yeah, that's pretty much sums it up. Yeah, I this is definitely like his homecoming, and I feel it'll be great to see that and having the crowd be there for him and support him from the entrance all the way to his win as well. As Marco's Braun to win for Ed's meltdown. If that happens, Ed will be crying when he joins in the post show, as we discussed it with Ella. But no, I definitely think this is Carmelo's moment, and there's you can't put anything else around it. You can't have Braun win right now. It doesn't make sense, and I feel like it just we don't want the same thing all over again. I feel like it's been okay with him as heel, so it's like I don't want them to keep going and with him as champion on top of it. And I feel like it's more fresh if we have a lot more people lined up to face Carmelo sometime soon than it is when Braun Breaker, who's probably going to go to the main roster sometime soon as well. So yeah, I'm sticking with Carmelo.
Doc?
Yeah, it's got to be Carmelo. You can't end his reign this quickly after building him up to what they have. He needs to get through Braun and move on to some new feuds. And I'm looking forward to that because there's a lot of people in NXT that Melo has history with and doesn't have history with that he can put on some good matches with. But yeah, Braun, like, I'm fine with him as a heel. I think it was a good move probably because he was kind of getting a little repetitive as a babyface. But I don't know, like, I'm starting to have concerns. I don't know if he's going to be the next Batista. Maybe he'll be the next Ryback. Like, he's sort of hit a plateau for me. Like, I'm not seeing anything new from him. I'm not seeing any big improvements. And he's kind of just doing the same thing he's been doing the whole time, which is fine because it's working for him. But I think eventually he has to grow, and I'm just not seeing enough of that.
Yeah, I love the heel dynamic. It's given him a little bit of a personality, which is the one thing he was lacking as a babyface. Well, one of the many things he was lacking as a babyface. The other thing I think that he's been lacking in this feud and everything going on is his promo skills are reminiscent of Roman Reigns, early Roman, not current Roman. And I feel like that could be a danger for him. Braun's got all the skill to move up and be just fine on the main roster, but I think he's going to get eaten alive by anybody that can talk halfway. I mean, hell, he's going to get eaten alive by somebody like Karrion Kross on the microphone. And that's saying something, because Karrion Kross on the microphone is pretty good, but he's nothing special on the mic. But I think he'd eat Braun Breaker alive on the microphone. Carmelo Hayes is everything that he claims to be. He is him. Right now, he is the top star and top attraction in NXT. I can't wait for some of these future feuds. And it's almost silly to even think about the idea that they would take the title off of him. I mean, you could make him Ryback. It's so silly to even think to take the title off of him when you still have Ilya Dragunov to do, when you still have Tony D'Angelo to do, when you still have Dijak that you can do, when you can still do Dragon Lee, when you can still do Trick turning on Carmelo Hayes. If you decide to go that route, I know Mark's brought it up before. You could have Trick turn on Carmelo Hayes at some point. There are so many routes you can go, not to mention people like Tyler Bate, Wes Lee, the entire North American Championship division, who could run with a guy like Carmelo Hayes because he's a bit smaller, he's a bit more athletic, that you don't have to only have your top echelon of guys. He can bring up a guy who's not quite as good. The feuds are endless with Carmelo Hayes on top. So you might as well just leave him with this championship. Let him have that homecoming moment. I'm super excited to see it. That pop is going to be one of the loudest NXT pops in recent memory when Carmelo Hayes comes home to this crowd of 3,000 in Boston. It's not even a huge crowd. Like, I've been looking at the ticket sales. It's only about 3,000 people, but it's going to be great. Yeah, Trick is going to turn on him. Maybe. I still think we're at least 6 months away from Trick turning on Carmelo. Hello, Bobby. Thank you for joining us. I know I saw the comment earlier, but I was in the middle of a talk. Yeah, it's awesome. I think it's really, really fun and interesting the ways they can go. Josh, hit me up on Twitter, and we can definitely talk about something like that. I would be potentially very interested. But yeah, there's all kinds of wonderful things that can come out of this match. NXT's in a healthy spot after the draft, with the exception of the women's tag team division, which is now non-existent, because they took both Isla Dawn and Alba Fire, whom I wanted to see because they're missing that veteran women's presence in NXT. Because I think the most veteran woman in NXT right now is it Roxanne Perez?
I told you that.
Is like,
well, is Mako still there?
Sorta, kinda. Like, she's the head women's coach right now at the Performance Center until they have NXT Europe go up and. Yes, I'm not gonna miss Casey Squared. I'm not gonna miss them at all. Katana Chance and Caden Carter. I am glad they're on Raw. Oh, okay. Well, I'll reach out to you in just a little while then. But yeah, there's all kinds of wonderful things that come out of this. NXT is probably in the healthiest spot it's been in a long time, ever since the 2.0 redo. They've got their champion. They're about to get their women's champion, and it's only going to get better because people like Nikita are going to be coming off the shelf in the next 3 or 4 months. You're going to get people like Sol Ruka back at some point. Stevie Turner's going to come back at some point. She was mentioned multiple times during the media call. Blair Davenport is probably coming back at some point.
Yeah.
We have the mystery attacker who we all believe is Blair Davenport coming on. No. Last Legend is nothing. She's not even considered in the women's division for me right now. No. Don't like Lash Legend.
I was gonna say, it'll be her and Jakara, the tag team, probably soon.
Well, yeah, because they're the only women's tag team in NXT right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the card. I mean, it's not. We could make this show longer, but there really isn't a point. It's a simple 6-match card. It's going to be in and out. It's going to be an enjoyable show. No match is probably going to be too short. No match is probably going to go too long. And at the end of the day, we're all going to go, that was fun.
Yeah.
With that being said, drinks. No, just kidding. With that being said, let's go ahead and let BR Doc go ahead and do his plugs.
Oh, yeah. You find all my work on Bleacher Report. I'll be covering Night of Champions here in a little while, and I'll be doing a post-show piece tomorrow for Double or Nothing. I believe our guy Kevin will be handling NXT. You can follow me on Twitter at BR_doctor. I don't always talk about wrestling, so my account isn't necessarily one that's going to be breaking news or dropping headlines or anything like that very often. Yeah, that's pretty much all I have to plug.
Before we get to the rest of the plugs, I just want to talk to you because I know one of your favorites just had a nice milestone achievement. Let's give you an opportunity on the air to go ahead and talk about Willow as the New Japan Strong Women's Champion.
Oh my God, I could not be happier. Willow Nightingale has had such a great year. And I know that the call was probably originally Mercedes and there was an audible because she got injured, but I don't care. Willow beating Mercedes is huge. Being the first strong women's champion is huge. She's been all over Ring of Honor and AEW recently. She's exploding, and I couldn't be happier. I think she truly could be one of the biggest stars in all of women's wrestling.
She has such an infectious personality, and she's so bubbly and lovely that when I saw it, I was like, because I was talking to Astrid, and I don't watch a lot of New Japan. I don't watch a lot of Stardom. And I was like, oh, the Mercedes matches tonight. Tell me when Mercedes wins. Because I'm not even really a huge Mercedes fan. And she was like, no, Willow won. And I was like, wait, what? And I had to go back and find out what happened and watch. She is such a delight. And listening to Caprice Coleman having fun rapping along to her stuff in Ring of Honor. Like, every time I see things about Willow, it's all about smiles and being happy and just having fun. And when I saw her win, I was like, well, we're going to have to ask one question to talk about it because I know how excited you must have been because I see your timeline. Your timeline is constantly all kinds of Willow stuff.
Yeah, one of my favorite things to tweet is everybody shut up, Willow's on TV whenever she comes out.
And I know that recently I saw it, and it reminds me of an old movie from the 90s, Cool Runnings. It's a movie about a Jamaican bobsled team.
Oh, I'm very familiar with Cool Runnings.
I don't know if Astrid is.
I turned 40 in a couple of months. I grew up with Cool Runnings.
Yeah, you and I both grew up with Cool Runnings. So it's about a movie about a Jamaican bobsled team. And they're not supposed to be there, and they're not supposed to have anything to do with it because it's a winter sport, and Jamaica's a tropical climate. It's a go to the film. I wholeheartedly agree. But the first time they're on TV, there's this lovely woman who goes, "Shut up! My boys are on TV.
Yeah.
And I just think of that every time I see you post that. Shut up, Will, everybody, buddy. Willow's on TV. I just see that and I'm like, I had to post it this week to be like, because it's just too much of a fun thing.
I used to say that for Serena Deeb, but she hasn't been on TV in forever, so I gave it to Willow.
Yeah. But I couldn't pass up the opportunity to talk about the New Japan Strong Women's Champion, Willow Nightingale, the first ever. It was an exciting moment. It's nice to see. And yeah, it probably was meant for Mercedes. But who cares? Let's give Willow a chance here. Is Willow going to be the one to dethrone Jade Cargill?
I feel like they're holding off for Statlander.
Okay.
I would love it if it was Willow, but she beat Willow 3 times. If they go back to that well, I don't know. Might just be a little too repetitive.
Yeah. I just figured we'd get a little bit of that in there because we have some time, so I figured we'd get a little bit of Willow talk in. Astrid, where can the good people find you this weekend?
Yeah. Oh, I had to highlight Barry's comment. Great show, guy / girl. Looking forward to watching the review show after my watch along to see either it's Meltdown or Happy. Actually, looking forward to seeing your insight tomorrow. Yeah, I keep forgetting that it's tomorrow. I feel like I have an extra day, but I don't.
No more extra days.
No. For me, you can watch me a little bit later doing the Night of Champions post show. I do have my Alyssa Marino Astrid Ask interview coming up at 5. I may delay it depending on how our post show goes today. And then tomorrow you're gonna see me along with Ella. She's gonna be replacing Ed for one night only. You heard that right, Ed? One night only. As she does the Battleground post show with me. But hopefully we'll have Ed call in and chime in a little bit of how it was for him being live there to see the crowning, like that crowning moment for Tiffany and Carmelo's big moment as well. Other than that, on Sundays you can find my NXT review on Women's Wrestling Talk, and other than that, you can find me on my Twitter Astrid Pizarro and my Instagram Astrid Pizarro 20.
And of course, you can find me on Twitter at edfries12584. You can find me for the last show of the weekend. Thank God. You can find me tonight, doing the post show for Night of Champions with Astrid and Carl and Chris Parrish. I will be live at the show, NXT Battlegrounds tomorrow night. I am super soaked. I am going to get my cardboard and my Sharpies tonight after Night of Champions post show to figure out my signs to make one. I'm going to make an Ol'Ed sign. Go ahead and hit me up on Twitter with signs that you think I should get. I might put Mark Cheer for Gala sign. I think that might be a good one. Otherwise, you can find me here every Tuesday night with Astrid, going ahead and talking all things NXT. You can find me every Wednesday night as me and Parrish do our own Battle of the Brands type of thing in Wrestle Draft, our GM mode, where I am currently winning, even though Triple H is giving everything and anything to Parrish to try to get him back in it. Just last week, Parrish got $600,000 for free from Triple H. And if you want to find out how, you'll watch the YouTube video coming out tomorrow. For all other things Ol'Ed, remember, we have this weekend, Night of Champions post show. We have Busting Out tomorrow. Later on today, I believe we have the Double or Nothing pre-show, preview show with Lauren Goodnight and our friend Bobby Munson, who is in the chat. We're also going to have a post show for Double or Nothing right after the post show for Taking Over. As soon as Astrid and Ella are done, you'll have Bobby Munson and Lauren Goodnight going ahead and doing Ol'Ed's first AEW content. So we're excited to get into the AEW world. Lauren Goodnight is going to be our AEW expert, bringing in all of the insight to things like that. And remember, if you want to find Ol'Ed, you can find us on Twitter and Instagram at Ol'Ed Podcasts. You can find us right here on Twitch at twitch.tv/ourlocalestablishment, at youtube.com/ourlocalestablishment. And if you want to email us any concerns, questions, guest appearances, things like that, reach out to the Ol'Ed Podcast at gmail.com email address. And we can go ahead and set up things like that with having our people on your shows or your people on our shows. The Ol'Ed way is to bring up everybody and anybody. We want to make this wrestling community a better place where everybody gets to help everybody else out. We don't want to make it a place where we're number one and everybody else. We don't care about that. We just want to talk fun wrestling with our friends and with good people like the BR Doc this week.
Speaking of that, I do have one thing I can plug. Can you get
Sure.
that graphic off?
Yeah, absolutely. Hold on. This one.
Can you put it so my little thing is visible?
Yes, I can. Hold on. There we go.
So everybody should go follow at Mel Coleman Art. She's the one who made this 4 pillars piece. Really, it's 4 separate pieces that she just stitched together that she's made over the last week. But I mean, if you just want some cool art on your timeline once in a while, she is literally the best at what she does. All this stuff, like, people look at it and they think it's photo manipulation. It's not. I see her process from beginning to end when it's literally like a stick figure drawing when she starts. So the talent is incredible, and she's one of the nicest people out there too. So everybody should go follow her.
melcolemanart.com, you said?
No, on Twitter it's at Mel Coleman Art.
Okay, at Mel Coleman Art. Absolutely. I'm going to go make sure I do that follow in just a minute when I get off the air. We have Roundtable Podcast coming in saying, hey, we're doing a live watch-along Night of Champions. If you want to jump over, yeah, there we go. If you want a watch-along for Night of Champions, there's one place that you can definitely go, friends of the channel. But for myself, Ol'Ed, for The Natural, Astrid Pizarro, and for our guest, the Doc, BR Doc Chris Mueller, thank you for joining us, and we'll see you all next time. Oh no, where's the video? There's the video.
Everyone is watching me when I'm coming.